Hi, Leo. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for January of 2020. This month, again, that big pile of Capricorn is still sitting there in your sixth house, bringing you all kinds of challenges at work. Fortunately, other things are also going on, and Julia has some things to say about Mars and Venus and Mercury. Take it away, Julia.
All right, I sure do. So let's begin with Mars. Mars is going to spend most of the month in your fifth house because it enters your fifth house on January 3rd. And this is the house of amusements, games, and children. So, what that means is you may be spending your energy, because that's what Mars represents, on going out and having a good time. Maybe that means going out to a club or going to have fun in a casino or going to a bar. And if you play any games, you also might be feeling a little extra competitive because that's definitely Mars energy in there. And maybe that means you're enjoying spending your time betting on fantasy football or going out on trivia nights. Now, the fifth house is also the house of children. So if you do have children, just be aware of any conflict which might crop up between you and your kids during this time too, because Mars can definitely be a bit feisty. Now, the next planet I want to talk about is Venus, and she begins the month in your seventh house, which she loves to be in. And this is the house of partnerships, so it's very natural for her. Now, if you're single, this is a really great time to get out there and date. And if you're partnered, then you might experience more pleasure in your relationship at this time. Then, when Venus enters your eighth house, and that's the house of shared resources and deep physical intimacy, you might then be turning your attention to increasing the intimacy between you and your partner, especially on a physical level. The next planet I want to talk about is Mercury, and Mercury begins this month in your sixth house of health and routine. Now, Mercury is the planet of thinking, so this would be a really great time to organize your home in any way if you need to, or let's say organize any files on your computer too. You also might be spending a lot of time thinking about how to enhance your health routines in some way as well while Mercury's there. And then when Mercury enters your seventh house of partnership, you're going to actually be doing your best thinking in a one-to-one dynamic. Maybe that is with your actual partner. So find someone to bounce your ideas off of instead of just having them on your own, and it might be a lot more effective that way. It's also a great transit for speaking to a consultant of all kinds. The last planet I want to talk about is the Sun, and the Sun begins the month in your sixth house of work and health routines. So you're going to be a lot more focused on your job, and you might be identifying more strongly with the work that you do or the services you provide, because anywhere we have the Sun is where we tend to identify. Then when the Sun enters your seventh house, again, that's the house of partnership, on January 20th, you also might be identifying more with your relationship. Maybe you feel stronger acting with your partner than just on your own during this time. I know you've got some things to tell us about that big old pile of Capricorn in there, Jeremy.
Yeah, yeah, it's really kind of got my attention. Um, and part of it is that there is an eclipse coming. There was an eclipse last month. That was a solar eclipse. This one is a lunar eclipse, and it's happening in Cancer, moon in Cancer, sun in Capricorn. It's a full moon, therefore a lunar eclipse. And so Capricorn's involved in that too, implicated perhaps in that. Now, this particular eclipse, being a lunar eclipse, is going to be more emotional than a solar eclipse would. It can really stir the pot emotionally, bring up a lot of feelings, and people will have to look at their shadow. We have a video about that in our January news playlist on YouTube and our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, if you want to find out more about how eclipses work and what they mean in this particular one. But suffice it to say that with the Sun in Capricorn in your sixth house, and then the Moon in Cancer in your 12th house, Leo, this is going to bring a lot of the quality of strength and fortitude and discipline and ambition and armoring to the work arena. And meanwhile, that moon will be hanging out in your 12th house like a little quivering mass of jelly, as if to say, what about me? What about self care? What about nurturing? What about family? Oh, so some, well earned solitude might be a really good thing to balance all of that intense energy in the 6th house that's going on there. So on the 10th, there are several things going on all kind of at once. One of them is this. Shh, shh, shush. One of them is this eclipse that's happening, and another is Mercury's Epiphany Day, which happens when Mercury is direct, fast, moving forward, and conjuncts the sun. It's a time of insights and light bulbs going off over your head, a time of clarity and forward movement in projects. So definitely take advantage of that. And the third thing going on the 10th is that Uranus turns direct. And Uranus is the planet of genius. And so this suggests that you may feel like some new ideas can burst forth. Some, again, light bulbs can go off. There is some unleashing of genius that may have been kind of held back for the last couple of months while Uranus was retrograde. So the last thing I want to tell you about is the new moon that's happening in Aquarius in your 7th house, and that is happening on January 24th right here in the 7th house. Those 6th house planets are so copious that the 6th house has to be drawn bigger, and so it looks like the 7th house is small, but it's actually normal size. So this new moon is about planting seeds the way new moons are, and in this case in your relationship arena. So this is a time right around January 24th, and usually moons last about 3 days, the day before, the day of, and the day after. And so this is a really good time um, for relating with people, for charming people, for for balancing your will with the will of the group. And also the nature of this particular moon has to do with finding your individuality in relationship to the group, not identifying with the group too much or too little. So there's some interesting thoughts. Now, Leo, if you were thinking about a reading around this time, I think your best choice would probably be the lifelong love reading, because that's the one that's all about relationships. It's all about love and romance. It's all about marriage and commitment, and can have you coming away feeling like you know how to make a really good choice if you're single, or like you know what you need and how to negotiate for it if you're married. And also, we throw compatibility checks in there too, if you like that. So that would be, I think, probably the best thing for you right now this month. And I think that's all we have to say, right, Julia?
That's right.
I hope you enjoyed it, Leo. We certainly enjoyed making it for you. You can find horoscopes like this one at pandoraastrology.com/horoscope, and also organized together into our YouTube playlist of horoscopes each month on Pandora Astrology at YouTube. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.